The Scarlet Letter, written by Nathaniel Hawthorne, an American novelist, is the best example of classic American novel and dark romanticism. The novel is classified under dystopian fiction as well. The author, Nathaniel Hawthorne, was born in Salem in the year 1804, July the 4th. His best known works are The Scarlet Letter, The House of Seven Gables. Hester Prynne, the main protagonist of the novel, is a woman who has committed adultery with a pastor and who has borne an illegitimate child. She symbolically wears the letter A pinned to her chest to show that she has committed adultery and is put to shame by the small Puritan community. She repents and strives to live with dignity towards the end of the novel. Arthur Dimmesdale, he is the town's pastor and the same man with whom Hester Prynne has had an adulterous affair. Pearl is their child. Chillingworth is the husband of Hester Prynne. He is a man of medicine and a physician who lives with the pastor at a later point of time. Reverend John Wilson is the town's minister and the church leader. Governor Bellingham is the governor of Bay Colony and he listens to the ministers and grants Hester's appeal to retain the custody of her daughter. It is important for us to understand who the Puritans were and understand their community. Now, as far as the term Puritan is concerned, it refers to precisionist. They emerged during the reign of King Henry VIII. Now, as far as Puritans are concerned, they are members of a religious group and they revolted against the Church of England. They believed that the practices were too similar to the customary practices of the Roman Catholic Church and that these practices were not from the Bible. So they wanted a reform. Now, during the 1620s to some time of 1630s, some of the Puritans, they migrated to northern English colonies in the New World and they laid foundation for religious intellectual order of the New England. And some of these aspects of Puritanism reverberated through the colonies and into American life at a later stage. Annie Hitchenstein, the name is mentioned twice in the novel The Scarlet Letter, and it becomes thus important for us to know a little bit about her background and the details. She was a religious liberal who became one of the founders of Rhode Island after she was banished from the Massachusetts Bay Colony. Now, one information about Hitchenstein was that she was too strong with the concept of morality and she protested against the authority of the clergy as well as the others. Most of the people in Boston supported her. However, there was this John Winthrop who opposed her. She was tried by the Governor Court chiefly, and then in 1637 to 38 she was held in the custody of the house of Joseph Weald, Marshal of Roxbury. So we can understand that as far as Annie Hitchenstein was concerned, she was excommunicated from the Boston church and she lived alone. Her narrative or the background she has is much similar to Hester Prynne we see in the Scarlet Letter. The Pilgrims Progress is also mentioned in the novel. Now, the Pilgrims Progress was an English allegory written by John Bunyan and it was published in two parts, one in 1678 and the other in 1684. The narrative of Pilgrim's Progress is about a good man's life throughout. Now, as far as the impact of the work is concerned, it was written by a Puritan author, John Bunyan, and he was imprisoned for it because it went against the Conventicle Act of 1593, which was prohibited according to the Church of England. The narrative also mentions the Sisters of Charity, the Knights Templar, and Enoch. Let me first tell you who the Sisters of Charity were. They belonged to a Roman Catholic congregation of non-cloistered women. That is, they did not become nuns or sisters as we address them today. They engaged in a number of activities, teaching and helping others and serving others whenever people required their service. The Knights Templar. So, as far as the Knights Templar was concerned, this group also belonged to a large Christian organization during the medieval era. Their main mission was to protect European travelers visiting the Holy Land of Jerusalem. As far as the book of Enoch is concerned, I would like to mention that he was the seventh patriarch in the book of Genesis. And the main thing about Enoch is that there were angels called the Watchers. These Watchers fell in love with the women of the world and they took them for their wives. They went unto them and they actually rebelled and fought against God in this manner because angels were not meant to take wives. So this could also have a kind of a similarity or a kind of a connection between what the pastor and Hitchenstein had. He was looked upon as a heavenly, a holy being who had dedicated his life to God, and Hitchenstein on the other side. On the other hand, she had taken or made a choice of the worldly life. So there can be a similarity, or we can always go in for a reference as far as this part or this mention is concerned.